The Crown of Kawasaki's brilliant Z lineup and based off of their craziest bike to date, the supercharged ZH2, up against Ducati's radical and aggressively styled naked Panigale variant, the Streetfighter V4. These are two of the most powerful, expensive and fast naked motorcycles on sale today, and both are vying for the title of King of the Nakeds. Hey there, I'm Kwackajack, and welcome to another episode of the Versus series, where we get two similarly matched bikes and put them together under the microscope to have a detailed specs comparison. We'll be examining the styling, claimed engine and power specs, exhaust notes, weight, suspension and brakes, fuel economy, features and price to see which one comes out on top in each category. But before we get started, make sure to do me a favor and hit like and make sure you're subscribed because I put out new moto content every Friday for you guys. Alright, let's get straight into it. First up, let's get a good look at the styling of both bikes. I'll put up some photos of each now so you can decide which one you prefer. To say that the ZH2's styling was divisive when it was announced would be an understatement, with many people saying that it didn't live up to its fully fared brothers looks. However, over time it seems to have aged pretty well, and its tough and bulky Tsugomi styling looks to have caught on. In my opinion, it looks staunch and powerful, and you can tell that this thing can haul some serious ass. But if I'm being honest, I think the Streetfighter does have the better styling. Looking like a red angry ant, it is very eye-catching on the road, with that mammoth grille and single-sided swing arm. It's hard to look away when you see one in person. This is of course down to personal opinion, so let me know which one you think looks better. Onto the engines. As stated, these are two of the most powerful naked motorcycles to ever grace the roads, and there is no way you could get everything out of them without taking them to the track. The ZH2 shares the same 998cc liquid-cooled 4-stroke inline-4 engine with that big Kawasaki supercharger that the H2 has. But it has been detuned to produce slightly less power and be more manageable for everyday riders. I'm using big air quotes when I say less power, because this bloody thing still stomps out a humongous 197 horsepower at 11,000 RPM and 137 Nm of torque at 8,500. With that supercharger in there, it means that there is supposed to be really no gaps in the power band, and a roll on the throttle in any gear at almost any speed will pull. That power also means it's got a claimed 0 to 100 time of around 3.3 seconds and will get you to a limited top speed of 300 Ks. Over on the Streetfighter, you're getting a larger 1103cc Desma Zedici 90° V4, which cranks out an insane 208 horsepower at 12,750 RPM and 123 Nm of torque at 11,500. It'll hit 100 in around 3.3 seconds and go on to a limited top speed of 300 Ks just like the Kawi. Now, the idea of having over 200 horsepower on a naked motorcycle is bonkers to begin with. Can you imagine what that wind will feel like at the speeds that this thing is capable of? On either of these bikes, you'll want to hold on for dear life if you choose to pull that throttle and use even half of what they're capable of. So, who wins in the engine and power department? Well, the Ducati does have 11 more horsepower and the larger overall engine size, but the Kawasaki has the supercharger and 14 more torque. I guess it depends on which is more important to you, but I'm going to give it to the Kawasaki because the difference in torque, in my opinion, will be more noticeable than the difference in horsepower. They will both hit the same speeds, and as for acceleration, at this point, it'll be really down to the launch of the bike. They're both monsters, but the ZH2 is just a little bit more bonkers than the Streetfighter. Now, let's also have a listen to the exhausts of both. I love the induction sound on the Z, but the Streetfighter sounds better stock to my ears. Moving on, and we come to the weight. There is quite a big difference between the weight of these two machines, and I think that will reflect further down the track. The Kawasaki is the bulkier of the two bikes, coming in with a wet weight of 239 kilograms. It looks like a large motorcycle, and that's because it is, but reviewers claim that when moving, it's very balanced and manageable. However, the Ducati is the clear winner in the weight department, with an impressively light wet weight of 201 kilograms. Considering the size of the engine, that's a light bike. I mean, that's only about 2 kilograms heavier than a Yamaha R1. The Streetfighter V4 is victorious by a big margin in this category. Now to the suspension and brakes. On the ZH2, up front you're rocking 43mm fully adjustable Showa forks and a fully adjustable Showa shock at the back. Kawasaki claims that it is equipped with a smart rear swing arm, which was derived from the legendary ZX10RR. As for brakes, at the front you have two 320mm discs with 4-piston Brembo monoblock radial calipers and a 260mm rear disc with twin piston caliper at the rear. And it also comes with cornering ABS. With quite a high seat height of 830mm, it has a riding position that they claim to be relaxed yet sporty, and that sort of sums up the bike, to be honest. The ZH2 is kind of like a gentleman's rocket ship, loads of power, but balanced and accommodating to ride. People have said that it's actually somewhat easy to live with, as it's comfortable and tame when you're not riding it like a loon. Over on the Streetfighter, and things seem to be a bit more aggressive. At the front is a fully adjustable 43mm Showa BPF fork and fully adjustable Sachs unit with aluminium single-sided swing arm at the back. For its brakes, it has two 330mm semi-floating discs with radially mounted 4-piston Brembos and a 245mm disc with 2-piston caliper at the rear. And it also has Bosch cornering ABS. With an even higher seat height of 845mm and a slightly leaned forward sitting position, giving it a more aggressive stance, you can see the difference in how these two bikes are set up. Ducati calls it the fight formula, and it all combines to give the V4 a more badass and combative personality. I mean, it is called the Streetfighter after all. This bike is more of a track monster, and it will excel there. You can also upgrade to the V4S to get the Olin suspension suite, but that upgrade will cost you another $5,000. As for which one comes out on top in this department, it's hard to say, as some people will prefer the more relaxed and compliant Kawasaki, and others the aggressiveness of the Ducati. As for an area where we can pick a winner, and that's fuel economy. Okay, first of all, let's be realistic here and remember that both machines have big engines, so if you're expecting to get some cross-country long-distance fuel range performance, you should probably look elsewhere. The Kawasaki has the larger fuel tank, coming in at 19 litres, and the expected fuel economy is said to be around 12 to 15 kilometers per litre. That would give you an estimated range of around 220 to 280 kilometers per tank, but if you move that throttle more than a little, I expect it to be a fair bit less than that. However, the Ducati has an even smaller 16 litre tank, and a similar usage of around 13 kilometers per litre. That would give it an estimated range of around 200 k's. But I've been reading owner reports online, and some are saying that if they ride spiritedly, that they are only getting around 120 to 130 k's before the fuel light comes on. Plus, there's no fuel gauge. Oh dear. In this department, even though neither do exceptionally well, the ZH2 is the winner. Thankfully, the manufacturers have endowed both bikes with a range of features to make your ride safer and more enjoyable. If I were to read all of them out individually, we'd be here till next week, so I'll put them up on the screen. The Kawasaki has a full suite of electronics, as well as a lot of other things to make your ride more enjoyable, like assist and slipper clutch, cruise control, and quick shifter. The Ducati also has a huge amount of features, but again seems to be a bit more set up for the track, with things like Ducati power launch, auto tire calibration, and those wings for downforce. Both machines are very well equipped, and you won't be feeling shortchanged by the features on either, except for maybe that fuel gauge on the Ducati. I mean, come on, how hard can it be to throw that in? But even though it is missing that, I think the Ducati just slightly beats out the Kawi in this department, having just a couple of extra goodies added in. But again, both very well equipped. So we come to the factor that I think will be quite important for a lot of people looking to choose between these two, and that's price. Both machines are expensive, there's no two ways about it. But for the amount of value packed in and what you're getting, I think that it's mostly justified. I'll throw in prices for other areas here too. The Kawasaki is the cheaper of the two, coming in with a right-away price here in Australia of $25,324. Considering that you're getting a 1000cc supercharged naked bike that's comfortable and packed full of features, I think that's a pretty great price. The Ducati starts at $29,500 Australian for the Streetfighter V4, and if you decide to upgrade to the V4S, that'll add on an almost $5,000 extra, and bring it to $34,200 Australian. Like I said, expensive. But like the Kawasaki, you're getting a lot of bike for your money, and that will hopefully ease the pain from that huge hole in your pocket. For price, the Kawasaki is the clear winner, being $4,000 cheaper than the competing Ducati. So which one would you have? The supercharged ZH2, which is sort of like a friendly lion? It could rip your face off at any moment, but it doesn't want to. It's the cheaper, torquier, and more usable everyday bike, with a lot of great added extras. Or would you go for the Streetfighter V4 with their fight formula and aggressiveness that will rip up both the track and regular roads with ease? It's down to personal opinion, and I'd probably lean towards the Z myself, but let me know which one you prefer. Thanks for watching this episode of the Versus series. Let's have a chat about what you think down in the comments below, and give me suggestions for which two bikes you'd like to see go head to head next. While you're down there, make sure to leave a like on the video and hit subscribe if you haven't already. Till next week guys, see ya!